How to draft a shareholders agreement. A shareholders agreement is an agreement between all or some of the shareholders in a company. It regulates the relationship between the shareholders, the management of the company, ownership of the shares, and the protection of the shareholders. It will also govern the way in which the company is run. It may be usual to combine the use of a shareholders agreement with a specifically drafted set of articles of association for the company. Hi, I'm Felix from Blackstone Solicitors, and in this video, How to Draft a Shareholders Agreement, I'm going to discuss some of the more important things to consider. So, what are the main issues the agreement should address? Things to consider: 1. Share transfer. 2. Potential conflict between director shareholders and non-director shareholders. 3. Roles and responsibilities of shareholders. 4. Change in business direction. 5. Where is the money coming from for the business? 6. Competition. 7. Exit strategy. Okay, who will make decisions? Shareholders or directors? Shareholders may be as engaged or as passive as they like in the operation of the business. However, they must establish clear boundaries with the directors. Decision-making clarity is critical. Conflicts of interest might arise when a director who is also a shareholder makes an operational decision that benefits him, but not other shareholders. It is frequently difficult to determine whether he acted in his capacity as a director, responsible to all shareholders and subject to a duty of care, or as a shareholder, not accountable to his fellow shareholders. A well-written shareholders agreement should spell out the kind of decisions that a shareholder director may and may not make without the consent of others. It is equally critical to disclose decision-making processes. A shareholder director may be able to make decisions that are not publicly disclosed. Again, defining what a director may and may not do without telling shareholders protects a shareholder director from acting contrary to the other members' interests. Therefore, the way to define what a shareholder director is and is not permitted to do is to utilize a shareholders agreement to define the shareholder's role, and a director's service contract to define the director's job. A director's service contract should also function as an employment contract, outlining disciplinary and grievance procedures. Each executive director is also a full-time employee. This confers greater rights to shareholder directors over non-employed shareholders, as an executive director can threaten significant disruption and expenditure by bringing the issue to an employment tribunal. You should establish how shareholders' voting power should be added up. Historically, one share purchase means one vote. A shareholder who owns more than 50% of the company's shares has the ability to make decisions and exert control over the business. For some decisions, holders of more than 75% of the shares must agree. This is not always desirable for shareholders. At times, it may be advantageous for everyone to have an equal voice, while at other times, it may be advantageous to provide a stronger voice proportionately to someone who has contributed more. You must define what constitutes a majority in the context of obtaining consent. A shareholder lender holding 5% of the shares may insist on unanimous consent for the most critical matters to him or her. A group of shareholders working together may resolve to restrict the range of decisions available to them, but agree that only 60% of them are required to make such decisions. Generally, keeping the equation simple is the best course of action. How do you terminate a shareholders agreement? You can terminate a shareholders agreement in one of three ways. The first way you can terminate a shareholders agreement is by mutual agreement. This is when all of the shareholders decide that they no longer want to comply with the agreement due to various reasons. The reasons can be from dissolving the company, selling their shares in the company or the company itself, or it can be deciding to leave the company. In a well-drafted shareholders agreement, these provisions should be included. Secondly, the shareholders agreement may automatically be terminated if there has been a breach in the agreement by any of the shareholders. When this occurs, the shareholders agreement will be terminated unless there are clauses in the agreement that sets out some form of mediation. Thirdly, a shareholders agreement can be terminated if one of the shareholders want to leave the company. In this case, there will be certain provisions in the shareholders agreement to map out what should happen in this scenario. If you need legal help with drafting a shareholders agreement, contact us at Blackstone Solicitors Limited. We have offices in Manchester and Central London and have clients across the country. If you found this video helpful, like it, share it and tell other people about it. Press the subscribe button below to keep informed about our latest videos. Goodbye and thanks for watching.